Alright, welcome back everybody. Early September 63. So, as far as battles are concerned, we're not really getting the battles that we want, but as far as mobility and positioning is concerned, we're doing pretty well. We've been kind of able to move at whim here in Virginia, whether it's in the Shenandoah or the lower valley areas. We did have a battle up here, which I'll talk to in a moment. It wasn't that big, though. Pretty frustrating. We were able to finally engage him, but he was able to get away. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot. I'm going to pivot west and try and get McClellan. So I'm moving Claiborne against McClellan, and I think I'm going to be able to get him because it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. Now this could be, you know, a bit hazardous because he's pretty well dug in, and as it currently stands, it's kind of 1-to-1 in terms of the power ratio. However, I hope to tilt the balance there by having Jackson in support. And so presumably, as long as Jackson moves in to the sound of the guns and supports Claiborne, then I'll have the 2-to-1 margin. That'll be much more advantageous. Now he moved closer towards, I guess, me. I think he tried to attack me, it looks like. So he moved away from the fort, the stockade, and kind of up. And now he's still in the woods, the mountains rather. So it's a good defensive area for him. But he's also still separated from McClellan. So I'm trying to take advantage of this separation at the, for the time being, before he has a chance to kind of reunite. I'm moving Hoke forward just to kind of provide a better general here, just for the time being, until I decide what to do with him. And then as far as up here is concerned, we actually destroyed the town, which is pretty funny. But we're going to move out of there. And then I'm moving him out back down here, and then I'll figure out what to do with him once he's kind of resituated. Okay. I think that's everything in Virginia. Let me show you the battle real quick. So we had 102,000 men. He had 28,000. This was basically one corps, and sorry, excuse me. I was really hoping I could, get him because orange, but he was able to retreat after an hour of battle, which is incredibly frustrating. So I don't know if going red would have made the difference. Who knows? The problem is when you're in proximity to a very large stack right here, you don't necessarily want to go red because you don't know if engaging him is going to lead to a total engagement with his entire army, and if that happened, he would have had me outnumbered. So it is what it is. But I guess we were able to inflict some casualties. Notice he did kind of respond, by the way, to my incursion. So me going up in here to Western Virginia and then going up here caused him to move 900 power over. So I'll take that as a win, because these are guys that he's not using to attack Nashville or move on my troops over in Virginia or support McClellan. So I'll take it. I am going to move him back, though, because I'm running out of supply and I'm just not going to be able to take this in time. So we're getting out of there. It's kind of the end of our incursions here into, what is this, Ohio? Or 63. Maybe we'll revisit this in 64. We'll see. Tearing up the rail line. He's kind of reestablishing military control here. Fine. I moved down here, so we're going to hang out here for the time being and kind of see what he decides to do. But I am trying to kind of get some guys over here and start fortifying this. And then I'm going to try and start fortifying down here. So that way, if he does start moving south, I can move my army down and already have pre-existing entrenchments down here. He was able to kind of sweep away what I had down here in Chattanooga. So I'm going to move forces back here and try and reestablish control down there. Okay, so we took this, so now I'm going to start building troops here when I get the chance. Next turn, probably. Missouri troops. And then here, as you can tell, we're able to plunder up there. So that's what I'm going to do there. And then my troops are almost here. So once they're all consolidated here next turn, I'm going to make a move on attacking him. I'm a little frustrated, though, because as you can see, we have ships here. We have ships here. He doesn't have access to this river. All he's got is this, and yet somehow, from, I guess, maybe this fort, he's able to push supply over this open land across a frickin' hill to this division and then these multiple divisions. I don't understand it. It's very frustrating. It just goes to show that the logistics in this game still need some work. This isn't even done building yet, this depot that he's building. And the reality is even if he builds it, it's like, where's he going to pull the supply from? Up here? Okay, well, it just doesn't seem to me like that's something you could support 3 or 4 divisions on, but apparently you can. I'm just going to kind of threaten up here, trying to get some intel, see what he's got up here. I might be able to maybe make a move on the depot up here, if I can. And then consolidate troops there, and I might make a move on them there next turn. So I'm going to move some troops over here to Texas just to kind of give me a little bit of a buffer in the event that he decides to keep pushing towards the interior of Texas. So I'm going to bring some stuff over. For the time being, not a whole lot, just because it does take about 2 turns to get stuff over here. And I want to kind of maintain a defense of New Orleans as much as possible, because I am peeling a little bit away from New Orleans to do this. Although I'm going to build him back up pretty quick. I mean, ultimately, I want 2 divisions down here in New Orleans if I can. I've had difficulty doing that, but if I can get 2 divisions, great. But I'm going to move him over to Texas and deal with this, because I don't know what his plan is. He's come this far, so he may cross the river and come after me. I'm pretty beat up, as you can tell, so he could probably cross the river and schwack me, and I wouldn't be able to stop him. With that, I want to say that's probably all the movements for now. I'm not sure what he's doing over here. But, go with... Alright, so here's the builds. We didn't have a whole lot of money versus the time before, right? Because we burnt all the money we had, so we are building here, but then what we can, replacement chits. Nothing there. A little bit here. Alright, and then I don't think there was any other battles to go over. Great Revival. Southern armies did not have an organized chaplaincy corps. However, night after night, troops gathered to take part in prayer meetings, testaments and hymn books, blah, blah, blah. And 100,000 men had discovered their faith through the Great Revival. Right. This is a pretty cool event, the 2 Liverpool Rams. So if the Union doesn't take New Hanover by obviously September of '63, these 2 go under construction, and then if they're built, then I can add them to my Mississippi fleet. So hopefully he doesn't take this anytime soon. But if he doesn't, then I can move these to the Mississippi fleet, and that'll build that up just a little bit more. Mobile is rioting, which is interesting. I did notice that the loyalty here is concerning. I didn't realize it had gotten this bad, so I need to get probably some cavalry in here at some point, maybe during the winter, and get this kind of flipped around. And then France has interceded in Mexico. So I don't know, for purposes of the game, I don't think it matters. That might just be like a kind of historical, to add some historical flavor to it. Kind of interesting they did it, but it is what it is. Alright, I'm gonna, on the flip, we'll see what happens, and I'll be back. Alright, welcome back. It's late September 1863. As you can see, we did have a battle up here against McClellan. However, he was able to largely retreat, it looks like, so I'll go over that battle in a moment. Moving Jackson down south here to try and engage McClellan. The goal being is trying to push him to the interior, separate him further and further from McDowell, and then hopefully I can turn a larger bulk of my army on him, get him kind of cut off from his supply, and then beat his butt through attrition. So let's see. So I'm moving Mosby down here across the river to try and cut him off from being able to retreat across the river. If he wants to go into this mountainous area, it's fine by me. That'll just make it a little bit harder for him to move around, but I am moving some cavalry in here, and a partisan guy here, all with the intent of, 1, cutting off any sort of supply for him, and 2, I want to say if there's a region that's inhabited by a unit and you don't have any military control in it, then you can't retreat to it, I believe. So even if it's like a partisan unit, I'm not entirely sure if that's true, but I believe it is. So that's that on that. The battle, let's go over the battle here. Alright, so I had 58,000, he had 35,800. But I was only able to inflict 2498 casualties. I actually lost more men than him, which is frustrating because I wasn't even crossing a river. So I don't know what that's all about. Kind of funny that the wagons were involved in the battle there. But yeah, I didn't have a river crossing penalty. I have better generals. I have a lot more men, and yet I suffered, more casualties. A lot of that has to do with his dig-in bonus, which was 577%. So I think he was level 6 entrenchment here. So that made a difference. But anyways, and it was a pretty short battle. It's only 2 hours. See, here's what we have. I'm not going to really go over this in detail since it wasn't really all that epic of a battle. Yeah, and I'll go over to Tennessee in a moment here. So I'm going to move out of here, out of Manassas, move back across the river, kind of over this way. Reason being is I think now that I'm separated, I've got 2 corps over here and then 2 corps over here. And he's got the bulk of his army now consolidated here with 1,200 power. If he wanted to attack me, he could. And he'd be able to greatly outnumber me, and I wouldn't have the advantage of either entrenchment or the river. So I'm going to get back across the river, kind of reassess the situation, and then either move even more troops towards McClellan and try and really lay into him, or kind of go from there. I am moving Longstreet, so I'm moving him from Manassas, not just across the river, but into Berry. So hopefully, I've basically got 3 corps going after McClellan now. These 2 going after McClellan, and then Longstreet here. And then also my hope too is that Jackson will be here in 5 days. Longstreet's going to be here in 8. That Jackson will move to the Sound of Guns and help against Berry, help Longstreet against Berry as well. And I feel like I can get away with this because if he does attack, he's going to go to Manassas. And so it's going to take him a turn to realize that I'm not in Manassas anymore, obviously, right? And then I can basically move back to support Smith if I need to. Okay, up in Western Virginia, just kind of getting military control and tearing up these rail lines. That's what I'm up to up here. Same thing way up here. Just tear up the rail line and then get out. I'm going to move Johnston. I'm going to move him actually up to Richmond to get just a better defense here up at Richmond. So I'm going to start building up Richmond, get at least a division up there, maybe 2, with an anticipation that perhaps he's going to pivot and try and use the ocean to get around me. We'll see. I'm debating if I want to put a fort down here at this rail line junction because Atlanta is susceptible to a river invasion. So if he comes up the river here, he can go all the way up to basically Muskogee before having to disembark. And then, Atlanta's right up here. I can lose Richmond, but I can't lose Atlanta, because if I lose Atlanta and I lose Richmond, the game's over. So I'm thinking about putting a fort right here, and then if I put a division in it, I believe that's going to be enough to keep him from floating anything further up the river, and so he'd have to land either here or just south of it. So I can put a fort here and then entrench here, and I think that would be enough notice for me to shift a large bulk of my army down towards the defense of Atlanta when I need to. Up here, I'm still holding Nashville. I've got a nice little western/eastern kind of front. So I guess the western front, right? We were lined up here. I'm kind of waiting to see what happens. I don't like necessarily having it where my corps are spread out like this. I like to kind of have them all bunched together so they can support each other. But the way I see it is if he attacks down here, he's going to have to cross the river, and then he's going to be further apart from his main army, plus he'll be kind of in a position where I can rail and attack him. And I also get the river crossing defense. And then up here, I got the 4 divisions, whereas I got 3 here and 3 up here. So that's kind of the strongest point. Plus he gets supported by both corps. And then up here, not only do I have Nashville, but I also have them dug in pretty effectively. However, as you can see, I'm blue because if he attacks, I want to retreat. I don't want to fight here. It's going to be a losing cause. He's going to get me one way or the other up here. This is really just a delay tactic to try and hold Nashville as long as possible, get into the winter, and then hopefully the winter slows him down until the spring of 64. And then that'll be the real test, really, is at that point. He's going to be kind of moving in on my interior, so I'm going to have to kind of really buckle down and maybe reassess during the winter months a new defensive strategy. I've got these guys down here just kind of digging in with the anticipation of falling back at some point behind this river line here. So using the rail line to get behind this river line, and then using the hills as defensive areas and the mountains. This is a really good defensive area, so he'd either have to attack me or go around. Either way, it's going to be precarious for him, because going around is going to be hard because these mountains and so forth. And so supply is going to be difficult. And then, attacking, he's going to have to go attack across the river plus into the hills and mountains. So I just need to make sure this depot doesn't fall. So I'm going to have to figure out a good defense for that. Sorry, I skipped over Ohio area, just falling back from the same thing as the previous turn, just falling back. Not a whole lot that's going to happen up there going forward. Mississippi. So I took this over, so now I'm going to get military control. And then as you can see, this is what I'm going to be building here for Missouri troops. So a couple of line infantry and cavalry, and then a couple pieces of artillery. I'm going to try to, as best I can, maximize this and build some more units out of there, so I can get a few more units out of Missouri. And then I've got Johnston's army, four divisions, kind of holding the point here. Still just training up troops here with Taylor. See, these guys are all going to be trained up to line infantry. Trained up this cavalry from conscripts to line infantry, or line cavalry, basically. Or they say early cavalry. And then I've got all these guys consolidated, so here's what I'm going to attack with. So I got Joseph leading. He's got a 5 strategic rating, so he should be able to get his activation roll and attack here. I'm not entirely sure if this intel is correct, because he's got full supply now. And he's kind of pretty far up, so that surprises me. I'm surprised by that. I'm going to attack anyways, though, since I did take the time to get everyone together. Hopefully this pays off. I'm a little surprised his supply is already back up. I don't understand how that's even possible. Very frustrating, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. But I got Heath. He's actually 4-2. He's got 2 attack, and then Hampton. He's got a 3 attack. So, and then this guy's here just to kind of. So anytime you have a non-corps with 2 divisions, you're going to suffer a combat penalty right here, unless you have a 4th officer, 4th general. So that's why I do this, to make sure I don't have a command penalty. And the rest of the stuff's just extra stuff, so I'm moving them all out. I'm moving Price actually down to down here in Texas, because I have some militia and stuff. So he's good at leading militia, so that's why I'm sending him down there. So we'll see here. The Tennessee battle, by the way, that was nothing. So don't worry about it. That was just along my rail line, kind of cleaning it out. And then I have Morgan here for 2 reasons. One, I just wanted to see if his depot was exposed, which is not. He's got a division there. But also to just remind him, hey, I can get to it, so don't bring these guys down to also support your army down here. But I have him on blue in case he attacks. I can retreat. And then let's see, Texas. Not a whole lot going on. It looks like he pulled back, so that's good. As you recall, last turn it looked like he was going to keep pressing. So I'm going to set up behind the river here and then try and get military control of all this, so that if he does decide to push forward again, it's going to take him some time, because he's going to have to get military control of all these areas before doing it. Okay, I already showed you a couple of the units I was building there out in Missouri. That's these guys right here, Missouri, and artillery. And then lots of artillery being built in like South Carolina, Mississippi. This New Hanover is kind of one of the things that was being built by the AI that kind of just spawned. And then replacement units here. So, or sorry, not replacement units. I'm not doing that this turn. It's I think. Yeah, I didn't think I needed to this turn, so we're good on that. More Liverpool. Trying not to print money because I don't want the price inflation. We're doing decent right now. It's 9. Pretty good for the Confederacy having 9 inflation. Josh told me this is like -17 though, which is ridiculous. Not only does he get a crap ton more money per turn, but he also has -17% inflation, which means all of his stuff is discounted 17%. But hey, it is what it is as the Confederacy. And then I'm moving him up. He's going to hold Paducah, so I'm going to send him up here to Paducah. I'm going to hold it, put a division up here, hold it, and then move Johnston and his army kind of right here to hold this river crossing once Nashville falls. So with that, go to the next turn, because really there's not a whole lot going on beyond that. I'm tearing up the rail up here too. But all right, so let's flip the turn and go from there, because I don't think there's anything else I need to show you. I did say blockade runner brought us some money, and then we got 8 money and 6 warp supply from our blockade runners.